قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live episode of Ask Zad, coming to you every Sunday at 4 o'clock here in Mecca region. We'll go straight to your phone calls, and the first caller is Ammar from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is, I read on your one of your question and answers that someone asked about reading Ayatul Kursi after the fard prayer, and if that person commits major sin, there is a in your reply you said that it is possible for that person to go to hell to get purified and then enter Jannah. So my question was, if I religiously after every prayer, if I read Ayatul Kursi, what's the benefit? Because if a person who does not read will also, there's a possibility of him also ending in hell, and if I also read it, there's a possibility of me also ending in hell. May Allah protect us. But to get purified, so what's the fadl or the benefit of reading Ayatul Kursi in that situation?
First of all, we do not deal with Allah Azza wa Jal like we deal with traders and merchants. 1 + 1 = 2. It is not like this. We are in need of Allah and of His mercy. And we cannot calculate things and say, okay, I did Umrah, and this expiates and erases everything in the past, so I have credit to make sins in the future. Secondly, the hadith is authentic. Whoever recites Ayatul Kursi after each fard, nothing will come between him and entering Jannah except death. Now, this hadith is authentic. And we have a number of scenarios. If I abide by your logic to this hadith and say I have a carte blanche, so I can go clubbing tonight, I can go for a one-night stand, I can drink booze, I can lie and cheat, and business as usual, I will go to Jannah. This is scenario number 1. Do you believe in this? Because if you do, then we have a problem. Scenario number 2 is the hadith is authentic, but we understand it as if someone avoids major sins. And hence, minor sins are forgiven with the grace of Allah when we avoid major sins, as the hadith between whatever is between Umrah to Umrah, Ramadan to Ramadan, the 5 daily prayers is forgiven as long as you avoid major sins. So we can understand this hadith of Ayatul Kursi in this way, and this is one of the ways of understanding it. But certainly it is not an endorsement for entering Jannah regardless of what you do of major sins. No one in his right mind would think like this, because you just imagine the consequences of me praying 5 times a day, religiously observing to read Ayatul Kursi afterwards, and I do the whole major sins that are found in the book. Counting that, all will be erased and gone, and I will go straight to Jannah. This doesn't work, unfortunately, or fortunately. Otherwise, we would be living in chaos, and Allah knows best. Majid from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have a question and a request. May I start with the question first?
Yes, sir.
So, sir, there are finance companies that pay on behalf of the consumer to the supplier, to the trader, at full price, okay? So they get their payments on installments from the consumer, like 3 or 4 times. And they charge a late fee payment. They say that this is not interest. This is just a late fee payment. So I believe this is riba, okay? But if this is riba, the person who agrees on the terms, even if he has a lot of money, agreeing on the terms itself, even if he can assure them that he'll pay, is he even sinful or not? This is my question.
Okay, what's the request?
My request is that you just pray for Palestine because...
Okay. First of all, we pray to all of our brothers who are being persecuted worldwide, especially in Palestine, the occupied Holy Land, which no Muslim doubts that it is holy, in the sense that it is the blessed land that is mentioned in the Quran, and that it is occupied by invaders who came 60, 70 years, and they betrayed the hospitality of the people who opened their homes for them and gave them food and shelter, and they kicked them out of their own homes and oppressed them, and now we know what is happening. So we pray for them and for their safety and for their success in fighting oppression and in fighting the invaders and clearing them out of their own land. No one in his right mind would say that, no, this is not fair. You come to my home, you kick me out, and it's okay for you to settle down. And if I try to get you out of my own home, that would be classified as terrorism or injustice. Only mentally distorted people would think like that. So we pray to their victory and to their safe being, and that Allah Azza wa Jal saves our brothers and sisters over there. As for your question, Akhi, these financial institutions, they have no right in what they're doing, because who are you buying from? Are you buying it from the dealer or from the financial institution? The financial institution does not own this product. I bought this mug because I want to buy it. So who sold it to me? If you say the dealer, then I should deal with the dealer and give him the money. If you say no, you bought it from the financial institution or the bank or the company that is like a loan shark. And in this case, they do not possess this merchandise. So how can I buy something from them that they do not possess? Beside the fact that if I'm giving them their payment in installments, and we've agreed upon 100 euros, and they say if you are late, then you have to pay us an extra euro. And this is late payment fee. Agreeing on it is agreeing on riba. It's like saying if you're 1 month late and you know that you're not going to be late, you allow us to rape your sister. And he said, okay, I have lots of money. I know I'm not going to be late. Can you sign something like that? Approving and endorsing a major sin? Of course not. So definitely this is not permissible. Now, some companies may try to find a loophole by saying, okay, the late payment, we're not going to take it for ourselves, we're going to give it for charity. Still, it is considered to be riba. Abdullah from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I had a question that in my salah, if I get a thought of Riyah and I just apply myself into Riyah for a few seconds, I beautify my prayer for only a few seconds, and then I remember that, oh no, it is Riyah, then I come back. Would it be considered that my prayer is invalid?
What are you talking about? Are you doubting that you're offering prayer because of showing off and riya?
No, Sheikh. Sometimes I just look at another direction, and then my brother comes, and then I correct my direction of looking towards the Musalla.
Yes, this is sinful. What you're doing is sinful, because while you are praying, you're supposed to look at the spot where you're prostrating. So what you're telling me is that when someone comes, instead of looking in front of you, and they come and you don't want them to see you distracted or looking left or right or somewhere else, so you pretend that you're praying in khushu'. This is riya. No doubt that you're doing something that is sinful, but in order to counter it, you should change your intention by rectifying it and making it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, not for your brother or for anyone coming in. So likewise, I have a lecture tomorrow, and I got these feelings that I'm doing it to show off. Should I refrain from giving a lecture? Or should I say, no, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah, and rectify my intention and still go ahead with it? So this is what you should do whenever you get such feelings of riya, that you should rectify it and make it for the sake of Allah, the Almighty. Abu Amana from the Netherlands.
Assalamu alaikum, Ammo.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
My question is, if I would be praying by myself and I follow it up with the sunnah after, but by myself, do I then also have to move to a different spot, or does that not? Is it not necessary anymore because I'm praying by myself?
Okay. So basically speaking, the hadith stated in regards of Jumu'ah prayer, as in the hadith of Muawiyah and Abi Sufyan and else and others, and also in congregational prayer, and in general praying the fard. So all these hadiths, they state that if I pray fard, whether in Jumu'ah or Jama'ah or alone, and I want to offer after the fard sunnah prayer, I either have to speak to someone or change the position. This is only after praying the fard. So yes, you have to go a little front or back or to the right or to the left if you want to pray the sunnah. Tahreem from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I had a question. So I know that if we show off acts of worship, it can be real. But is this for like all good deeds that we do? For example, my parents asked me to do something and I do it, but then I want them to sort of appreciate me, or let's say I'm being really nice to someone and but like in reality, I need something back from them. So am I sinful for this?
So riya is to show off. And the sinful showing off is in any form of worship. So whether it is prayer, fasting, giving zakat or sadaqah, teaching someone beneficial knowledge, Quran or Sunnah, etc. and you show off, this is riya, and it can reduce your reward and it can cancel your reward. If you show off in normal things of dunya, such as cleaning the living room, why are you doing this? I'm showing off that I'm a good person, and I do my chores, and at the same time, after finishing, I want to go to mom and ask her for permission to go and visit a friend. When she sees this, she might agree. So this is not a form of worship that you're expecting ajr and reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. So there's nothing wrong in doing so. What is wrong? If you do such riya or showing off in matters related to religion, and Allah knows best. Amina from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So my question is, I know as women we're not supposed to use perfume when we go out. What about if a woman has a very strong offensive body odor? Can you use something to cover that? Jazakumullah khair.
Wa jazakum. So basically, the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam states that any woman who wears perfume and passes by non-mahram men who could smell this fragrance from her, she is an adulteress. She is a zaniyah. So this hadith prohibits a woman from wearing perfume when there is a chance for non-mahram men to find her scent, such as in the case when she goes with a driver or with a non-mahram relative in the car, or she passes by men at the mall and they find this scent. If a woman has an offensive odor, as was mentioned in the question, this is usually gone by taking a shower. Self-hygiene would take this odor away. And there is nothing wrong in applying deodorants, because deodorants cannot be smelled as when you put and apply perfumes and wear perfumes. So deodorants would restrain and prevent such odor from appearing, but usually such an odor comes only from using the same clothes repeatedly, or when a person does not take a shower regularly, and Allah knows best. Ayn from Malaysia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum.
I would like to ask about bribery and tipping. I'm still confused. If I see a security guard at my housing area that is employed by the developer of my housing place, if I give them food or drinks, is this permissible? Or is it permissible if I give to my staff that is employed by a company, or if I see a garbage collector, I want to give them food or money or drinks? Thank you, Sheikh.
I don't understand your question, Ayn. Are you asking me about tipping, giving a tip to a security guard,
yes,
or garbage collector?
Food and drinks, is it permissible for me to do so?
To give what?
Is it permissible for me to do so, to give food and drinks to the security guard or the garbage collector that I see?
Okay. See, basically speaking, bribe is something that is given to an individual for his position, meaning that if he was not working in that position, I would not have given him anything. So giving a government official, like what happened in America, and he gets bribes in gold bars and money, and this is part of lobbying. Politicians do this regularly. This is a bribe, because if this politician was not working in the Senate or in the Congress or elsewhere, if he was a normal person, no one would give him a single dollar. But what he is receiving is because of his position. Likewise, someone working in the customs. So you give him a gift, so when you bring merchandise next trip, he doesn't take taxes on you. Or someone who works in the airlines and you need to have a booking or a discount, so you give them a gift for this purpose. If they were not in that position, you would not have given them anything. Likewise, the gifts that pharmaceutical representatives give to doctors, a laptop, a smartphone, a course in Sharm el-Sheikh for 3 days with business class ticket and lodging and your wife and your kids. This is a clear bribe. And many doctors take it without any problem. Business as usual. But when you go to a restaurant or someone comes and does work for you, or the janitor, or the trash collector, and you give them food as charity, or a bottle of water in the heat of the sun, or you give them a small tip because you know that their salary is not sufficient, this is, inshallah, acceptable and a gesture of kindness that is permissible, and Allah knows best. Muddathir from Russia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have quite much a confusing question about the Jummah prayers. I am currently living in St. Petersburg, and the issue is that I have to travel almost 45 minutes to get to the nearest mosque. Like the nearest mosque by the metro is 45 minutes away. So is the Jummah prayers farz on me, or I can pray the Zohar at my dormitory? I'm a student here.
Akhi, the Jumu'ah prayer is one of the most important prayers in the Muslim's life. And there is a chapter, one of 114 surahs in the Quran, by the name of Al-Jumu'ah. And scholars say that it is mandatory upon a person to attend the Jumu'ah if he's in a city where the Jumu'ah is being called for. So, is it a must to attend it even if I do not hear the adhan? This is an issue of dispute. To my knowledge, the majority of scholars say that you have to, even by car or taking the bus or the subway, to go to the masjid and be with the congregation and be with the Muslims and express your solidarity with the Muslims in St. Petersburg or wherever you are by praying with them. And inshallah, Allah will reward you for that, and Allah knows best. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Today's topic is poverty. Poverty in Islamic legislation refers to lacking or falling short of basic necessities. So, anyone who does not have a quantity that satisfies him and his family is considered in poverty and among the destitute. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam fed the trial of riches for his nation more than he fed for poverty. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "By Allah, it is not poverty about which I fear for you, but I fear in your case that riches may be given to you as were given to those who had gone before you, and that you begin to vie with one another for them as they vied for them, and that they may destroy you as they destroyed them." This hadith was reported by Al-Bukhari. and also in مجموع الفتاوى.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. We have Sumaya on the line from the UK. Sumaya.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
If someone is traveling and he's on an airplane and they don't know what, like my sister was traveling and she didn't know like what time Fajr was, so she said the sun was rising in some countries and the sun was not rising in other countries. So she said she was really confused, and then she said when the sky turned grey, I don't know what the time is, she prayed, and they were supposed to land in London at 6:56, so that's past Fajr time. So are they supposed to repeat that prayer because there's like some doubt in it?
First of all, when a person is anywhere, the prayer time is related to his position on earth, not where the country of destination is or the country of origin is. If I'm flying, it doesn't matter what time Fajr is anywhere in the world except on the plane I'm in. So, alhamdulillah, while flying, I have the windows up. I can see in the direction of the east, the darkness of the night when the break of dawn appears and I see the white thread horizontally appearing. Now I know it's Fajr. This is my Fajr, regardless of the time or the country. The moment I see it, this is my Fajr. So if she saw the sky was a bit gray, meaning the light has appeared but the sun did not rise, and she prayed, then her prayer is valid with the grace of Allah. Asna from India.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is it permissible to borrow money from a person who works in a bank? Jazakallah.
Wa jazakum. So, borrowing money is permissible regardless of the source of this money. You see, if I have a $10 banknote, this $10 banknote is not najis, it's not impure, it's not by itself something that has to be cleansed. It depends how it was earned. So if I work in selling drugs, may Allah forbid, or in dealing with riba, and I get this banknote and I give it to someone, I'm sinful for earning it from haram sources. But when I give it to someone in halal means, which is giving, lending, buying things of him, to that individual, it is halal. So, if you borrow from someone who deals in riba, such as people who work in banks, what you borrow is halal for you. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, before he died, borrowed from a Jew. And he pawned his own shield or his own armor in exchange for this amount of barley he borrowed from the Jew. When we know that the Jews depend entirely on extortion, embezzlement, and riba. Yet, when we borrow from them, this is halal for us and haram for them. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Wahidullah from the US. Wahidullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Okay, yeah. So basically, my question is, my brother told me that, like right now, what's going on with Palestine and Israel,
Okay, I think we've lost Wahidullah. We have a caller from Canada, Raise.
Walaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Salamullah wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a question. What is the sunnah of following? How do I follow the sunnah of using miswak, and what is the reward? Jazakallah khairun.
The sunnah of using a miswak. This twig is called miswak, and it's very nice, very useful. The sunnah is to brush your teeth with it, whether sideways or upwards, depending on what's more convenient to you. And it is highly recommended when you enter your home so that your spouse would find a good smell. Before you make wudu, before you offer prayer, and after a meal, for example. So using it is something that is beneficial, and it is highly rewarded, because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, had I not feared that I would burden my ummah, I would have ordered them to use this siwak before offering prayers. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Nazim from France.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
I have a question for a Muslim friend who is an order taker.
Who is doing what?
Who is packing the orders from clients.
Packing?
So usually it's food and sometimes frozen items. And sometimes he received to pack orders with pork meat. So my question was, is this job allowed in Islam? Jazakallah khairan.
Wa jazak. Akhi, it's a rule of thumb to know whether your job is halal or haram. Anything that assists others on haram is haram. Period. So if you're packing groceries that contain pork or intoxicants, is this halal to use? The answer is no. Then it's haram for you to pack. It's haram for you to sell. It's haram for you to carry from one place to the other. It's haram for you to put on the shelves and the likes. So he has to definitely avoid this, and the rest is halal, inshallah. Suhail from Pakistan. Suhail.
Hello?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, Sheikh, a week ago, I made a mistake in Fatiha. Instead of pronouncing mustaqim, I pronounced mustaqim. So I don't know, I literally don't know how many times I have done this in Salah in order to catch the Imam.
Suhail, what did you change in mustaqim?
I think I changed the zir from upper. It is the lower zir, but I pronounced the upper zir. But I thought that time it is correct.
Can you pronounce it again, please?
Mustaqim, like this.
Yeah, you said the M at the end, mustaqim.
Yes.
That's fine. You have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Muhammad from the UK.
Salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
Please explain what we should do when the time of the the remaining time of the current prayer is too short to meet the conditions, such as doing ablution or covering the body or the major ritual bath. On Islam Ki Way, they quoted Ibn Taymiyyah from his explanation of Al-Umdah as saying that it's more important to fulfill the condition of praying on time than any other condition. But he said if a person purposely delays, then he has to fulfill the condition even if it means missing the time. So I'd like to know what each of the following people should do. The one with an excuse, the one who delayed but would have made it on time, but then something occurred out of their control, and the one who delayed with no excuse until they knew there wasn't enough time to meet the conditions, such as doing ablution.
Okay, basically, Muhammad, this requires a long explanation. In a nutshell, if you wake up late and there is 1 minute for the sun to rise, and you have to answer the call of nature, and you have to put on your clothes, and you have to face the Qibla and pray, you have to do this even if the sun rises. And you're excused because you have a reason, you have a legitimate reason, you were asleep. If you deliberately delayed the prayer until there was a minute left, and then you want to do tayammum so that you would catch 1 rak'ah before the sun rises, no, this is not valid. It's your mistake, it's your sin, and your prayer is invalid because you delayed it purposely. If it was beyond your ability and unintentionally, it takes the same ruling as waking up late, and Allah knows best. Sulayha from India.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam.
I have a question. Can I ask?
So, Sulayha, why do people come to my show?
Okay, sorry, I forgot. Our sister has 2 children born out of wedlock from a non-Muslim man. Can this man be titled as their father in all identity documents of children? Jazakallah khair.
Wajazakum. First of all, I have to apologize for my bluntness, which some call it rudeness. A lot of the time, people call me on my mobile, and you know that my mobile is always on, and I answer calls there for free. But they come and say, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can I ask you a question? Why do you think I'm answering you? You called me to ask a question. I picked up to answer you. So please forgive me, but go straight to the question so that we would save a lot of time. Again, coming back to Sulayha's question. A woman has a child out of wedlock and the father is a kafir. Should he be called after his father and in legal documents or not? This is a long topic and an issue of dispute, and I would recommend that you go to the muftis in your country. Why is there an issue of dispute? Because the hadith, when Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and Abd ibn Zam'ah disputed over a son, over a child. And that child was acclaimed by the brother of Sa'd, Utbah, who before dying said to his brother, this is my son. I fornicated with his mom and he's mine. While Abd ibn Zam'ah says that my father's concubine conceived this child when she was under my father, and he's my brother. So the Prophet said, a hadith, alayhi salatu wasalam, al-waladu lil-firash. The child belongs to the owner of the bed. وَلِلْعَاهِرِ الْحَجَرِ. And the fornicator gets nothing but the stone, meaning he goes empty-handed. So the scholars said that the son, the child, cannot be attributed to the fornicator. While others said, if the woman had a husband, then yes, by default, it belongs to the owner of the bed, who is the husband. But if the woman was not married and what was not known to be a prostitute having many men customers. In this case, biologically, this is the child's father, and logically he can be attributed to him, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Layla from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sheikh.
Alaykum assalam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is about my sister, as she is totally obsessed with this part, as I am going to tell you. Like, generally, she read about pre-seminal discharge. So from that time, she says that I feel scared that maybe during prayer she emits pre-seminal discharge or any kind of discharge without any cause and desire. And when she starts praying, she feels like that. And when she checks out, she finds nothing. But sometimes she finds that there is discharge. But, you know, discharge is the part of women's cycle. Because of this, she is very disturbed and she says to me, I can't do it anymore. And she's about to skip prayer. So what should you advise such person?
This person should be advised to fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Shaitan, the devil, Satan, is setting her up so that he can accompany her to hellfire. And she is obeying him. And she is an obedient student of his. He's very happy. He's clapping all the way as she's about to leave and skip prayer, which qualifies her to be a resident in hellfire for eternity. As you've clearly stated, it's part of the women's nature to have vaginal discharges. And these are, according to the most authentic opinion, pure and do not invalidate the wudu. And the default is everything is pure, everything is normal until proven otherwise. So you cannot jump the gun and assume that, oh, this is prostatic fluid or whatever it's called, madhi or the likes, when you don't have any provocation of desire or you did not see anything that sexually aroused you. And you've checked so many times and you found that it was nothing, and you still insist on doing this, you are qualifying to be an advocate and one of the devout students of Shaitan. It's your own doing. Shaitan has nothing to do with it. He just calls you and you respond and answer it. As mentioned in Surah Ibrahim, chapter 14, verse 22. Satan says in hellfire, I had no control over you except to call you, and you responded and answered me. So don't blame me, rather blame yourselves. I'm not going to benefit you and you're not going to benefit me. So she has to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah knows best. Adil from Spain.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I'm basically a programmer that makes programs on computers, and basically there was another person's code that I downloaded that I have to work with to make mathematical education videos. And in one of the code lines, the names of the function is show creations, astaghfirullah. And so I was working with that. Does that mean I committed shirk, or
no.
Is it?
No. There is no shirk, akhi, in such names. The name of creation, creator, and the likes, there is no shirk in that. Because Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran called others as creators and said to create creation. So there is no similarity between Allah the creator and humans and others who create also things. I create a beautiful drawing. I create a poem. This is not shirk at all, so don't worry about this. Now, the name is Azim from the UK. Is it Azim as in Allah's name? This is totally haram. You should change this name and never use it. If it's Adim, which in Arabic means leather, then this is okay. So excuse me, you have to clarify.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
No, it is Adim, not Azim, it's Adim.
Okay, very good. So it refers to leather, and this is totally permissible. Yes, my friend, what can I do for you?
So basically, whenever I make wudu, and especially at work, it takes me a long time for some reason. I do it according to the sunnah, but when I use a lot of water, I do it quicker, and at work I need to obviously be 1 minute in wudu. So is it permissible for me to just make wudu like with a lot of water? Or is it still bad for me to use little water but take more time? Jazakallah khair.
Wajazakum. No, of course. If it is time versus extravagance, I would choose more time. Because when you say, I follow the sunnah but I use a lot of water, it can't go. It's like saying, I am black but I'm white. It has to be one of the two. The sunnah is the Prophet used to make wudu from approximately less than 300 milliliters. Let me rephrase that. It's a mud. This is what the Prophet's wudu used to be. So if you fill this, and some say it is approximately 600 to 700 milliliters, but I've tried it with a mug, and it was a beautiful wudu. And the prayer was excellent afterwards. The more you are inclined to follow the sunnah by using less water and trying to just put a spoon or a tablespoon of water in your hand, and then with that you wash your face and you consume very little water, when you pray, you find that your prayer is beautifully executed. So no, take more time, but do not waste water. Dima from Germany. Dima? Dima, I can't hear you. Can you speak louder? Okay, I think Dima is having problem with her audio settings. Fahmida from the US.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
Is it permissible to borrow a device from a college or university for educational purposes?
What kind of device?
That's a regular device, like an iPad, computer.
Why are you asking? I fail to see the thought process that would make you doubt it.
Because it asks that before you are enrolled in that specific institution, you cannot borrow one unless you are a student. Then you can.
No. Fahmida, the rule of thumb is, as long as I'm not cheating or lying, if a university, whether I'm enlisted in or not, decides, according to their policies and procedure, to lend me an iPad or a computer, and I use it in halal, and I return it to them, there is nothing wrong in that at all. Again, the Prophet ﷺ borrowed from Jews. The Prophet ﷺ borrowed from one of the battles from a companion, Safwan, the shields and armors to fight, if I'm not mistaken, in the battle of Hunayn, and so on. So there is nothing wrong in that, inshallah. Muhammad from Azerbaijan.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alhamdulillah.
When I pray in the masjid, I sometimes have a feeling of riyah. Can I pray those prayers when I should pray loudly, like 2 first rakats of Maghrib and 2 first rakats of Isha silently because of this feeling?
Now, are you asking me that what's the ruling on praying Maghrib or Isha silently, whether I am in the masjid or I'm at home?
No, basically, if I pray like that because I fear that someone watches me or because of my recitation.
And this is fard, and we're talking about fard.
Yes.
No, first of all, the ruling of raising your voice in the first 2 rak'ahs of Fajr, the first 2 rak'ahs of Maghrib, and first 2 rak'ahs of Isha is a sunnah. Whether you're praying it in the masjid or at home, this is a confirmed sunnah. If someone for any reason wants to recite it silently, not to wake up the children, not to bother or annoy others, for any reason, this is halal. If you're afraid of them liking your voice, this is something that you have to work on. I wouldn't say it's shirk or riya, but I would say that you have to work on, because you never know. Maybe your voice would be the reason for them to be guided, and Allah knows best. Ibrahim from the Netherlands. Ibrahim.
Hello.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
Sheikh, I'm a big fan.
May Allah,
may
Allah promote you
promote
again.
Me to,
yes, you know.
Promote me to an air conditioner.
you know the drill, huh? What can I do for you?
I know the drill. First of all, I would like to shout out to my cousins, Adil, Heba, and Ibrahim, Yusuf, and Abdullah. It was a really big request. So anyways, let's proceed to my question, okay?
Okay. I hope you're not going to ask for a song afterwards.
No, inshallah, no.
Okay.
Sheikh, so basically it's been like nine months since I'm in India. And one thing that I've noticed over here is that almost 98% of the mosque over here, they delay the salah for about like 2 hours, 1.5 hours, like that. Like, for example, let's say, take Dhuhr, okay? Basically, Dhuhr must be like prayed at 12:30, but they delay it up to 2
I
PM.
understand, Ibrahim. I understand. So what is your question? They're Hanafi.
So what's the Yes, so like what's the solution to it?
Okay, the solution is that you must pray in the masjids with them. Though they delay the Dhuhr and the Asr and sometimes Fajr, but they still pray it within the parameters of the prayer. You know, every prayer has a beginning and the end. Their beginning is a bit twisted and late, unlike the other three schools of thought. And they're fixed on it. They don't want to follow the Sunnah. This is up to them. But as long as they pray within the accepted timing of the Salat, you have to pray with them in the masjid. If they delay it way off, in this case, no. So for example, Dhuhr starts at 12:15. And Asr starts at 3:30. If they delay Dhuhr adhan to 3:30, now this is not permissible for you to pray with them because the time is expired. You have to pray on your own in your home. But if they offer the adhan at 2 o'clock, so it's still an hour and 30 minutes before Asr, then you have to pray with them so that you would not miss the congregation, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. But of course, if you can go to Ahl Hadith Masjid who pray on actual times according to the Sunnah, that would be a win-win, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين